It's the dangerous conspiracy theories of Marjorie Taylor Greene, and this just scratches the surface. Check it out, leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. From Crazyville, Marjorie Taylor Greene. The video came out yesterday of her following David Hogg around, yelling at him and telling him that she had a gun. He was one of the survivors of the Parkland massacre, where, as I recall, 12 people were murdered by a crazed person with a gun, and she was apparently alleging that that was another false flag operation. Last night, Wednesday night, she held a town hall and said only questions that have been submitted in writing in advance will be asked of her. She would not allow any questions from the audience, spontaneously. Now, I get that. The last time I did a book signing, it was about a year ago at Town Hall Seattle. In fact, it was March of last year. There was, this is like 1,000 people there. So we asked people to write their questions on cards, and that way we could kind of boil it down. In fact, you typically get 6 or 8 different cards that all basically had the same question on them. So you get a sense of, what are the questions people really care about. Marjorie Taylor Greene, though, was doing it because she wanted to avoid hard questions. So this local news crew shows up, and the reporter with the news crew asks her a question out loud, which you're not allowed to do at her town halls. And so she has the sheriff's deputy threaten them with arrest, right? Threaten them with arrest. But it gets weirder. It turns out that on her Facebook page 2 years ago, when the wildfires were ripping through California and people were dying left and right, she suggested that the reason these wildfires were happening in California was because Governor Brown was using a space laser to start the fire. I'm not making this up. That Governor Brown was using a space laser to start these fires in California to clear the way for a high-speed rail line. I mean, she said this was because of this partnership between PG&E, Pacific Gas and Electric, and SolarN, which is a renewable energy company. She said, if they are beaming the sun's energy back to Earth, I'm sure they wouldn't ever miss a transmitter receiving station, right? What would that look like anyway? A laser beam or a light beam coming down to Earth, I guess? Could it cause a fire? That wouldn't look so good. Right. So here we have Congress, representative from Crazyville. And how did the Republicans respond to this woman who said that a bullet in the forehead would be an appropriate response to Nancy Pelosi? How did the Republicans respond to this? They just put her on the Education Committee. The woman who said, this is what Nancy Pelosi said. She said, assigning Greene to the Education Committee when she has mocked the killing of little children at Sandy Hook Elementary School, when she has mocked the killing of teenagers at the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. What could they be thinking? Or is thinking too generous a word for what they're doing? It's absolutely appalling, said Nancy Pelosi, and I think the focus has to be on the Republican leadership of this House of Representatives. That would be Mr. McCarthy and Mr. Scalise. Kevin McCarthy, who spent the day yesterday down at Mar-a-Lago with Donald Trump. Steve Scalise, who ran for Congress from Louisiana on a slogan of David Duke without the hood. Steve Scalise says, I've condemned violent rhetoric on both sides.